Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions. The straight up club, no sideways. How great is that? Yeah, we're going to start wearing little hats on our head. First, to remind us that it's straight up, and second, that it's not too serious. Jesus, do I have any desire below my level of awareness to make this serious? That's part of trying to fall in our sword on a regular basis. To think it's somehow serious. And then the looking has to be direct. But it ends in laughter. That's what we're seeing in these joining sessions. You start chuckling. It's beautiful. I was joining with Sue, and she says, and we had to turn off the video, but she let me know. It was like a little chuckle came out there. You can't see me. A little smile, because we want to be serious about it. The ego. That's plain consciousness, seriousness. Let's ask Jesus. We want to kill that laughter off. And then we'll just pay thousands of dollars. That's by comedians. You know, it's just a relief to get over ourselves for a few minutes. The seriousness. That something horrific is going to be discovered. Let's ask, that feels good. Jesus, am I really serious because I think something horrific, I desire an experience of feeling like something horrific is going to be discovered? It's really good to go with him until he wipes that off the map. Do I relish just being serious about the whole spiritual experience? I relish that. Yeah, he's talking to me in the jacuzzi once again, having a jacuzzi talk. You never know. You know, you can talk to him anywhere, in the shower, in the jacuzzi, no limit. This is the sin limit plan, without a limit plan. And talking to me how much we like speaking with the serpent tongue and hearing the serpent voices. I'll remember that. Adam fell asleep before that. Before Evie fell asleep, he was snoozing, taking a little nap. And then the serpent came. It is his own voice, his desire for the serpent voice. That's Jesus. Jesus was Adam just desiring to hear a little serpent hissing in the. And you might as well blame it on a snake. You know, let's find someone out there to blame it on. A snake telling me, like, oh my God, Flip Wilson. Is anybody old enough to remember Flip Wilson? Some of us are old enough. So hilarious. He said, the devil made me do it. And so even blame it on the devil. We have to see the devil as innocence and see how much we really relish the darkness. That's the whole game. Jesus, do I relish that darkness? You know, everyone's like all upset with Satan worshipers and all this stuff. I'm trying to remember what the name of that Satan worshipers group. But then I realized as I look at that, you know, like there's some kind of secret society where they go off in the woods. They got investigated and they have all these people sneak in to look in there and see that they're all the supposedly heads of government go, and then they human sacrifice or whatever it is. But at least they're open about liking the devil, because if you look underneath the subconscious mind, you can see we love the devil. We love the darkness. We pretend, oh, that's really bad. Oh, that's terrible. And underneath, it's like, oh, I really like that. You'll start to see that. You're watching a movie, and after a while with Jesus, you just see, I just really relished that violence right there, and seeing that, relish it. You think, oh no, Jesus, I can't possibly relish this. Please see it direct with them. the juicy bits, the juicy darkness in consciousness that we relish keeping. That if we really ask him, Jesus, do I really want the light? I'll tell you, you say you do, but you really don't. I don't understand Jesus. Like, why am I not the light? And I really want the light, because we don't want the light. And that's why he's got to show us where we just really don't want a miracle. Not an inch of a miracle, not a little scratch of a miracle, not a little teeny itsy bitsy miracle. Like, because all of consciousness is to say, no miracles for me. Because the me is miracleless. It's create a little kingdom, a miracle-free zone, which is the death zone, and then we pretend like all of heaven is inside of the miracle-free zone. We can ask Jesus that. Would God just try to create a miracle-free zone and relish it to the last drop? It's helpful when he tells us, look right here. See how much you really relish it. And it's okay. See, we're in the honesty of God zone. We're in the, okay, you're right, Jesus zone. This is the happy, you're right, Jesus hashtag. That's our new hashtag. We haven't had a hashtag in a while. We've had some good hashtags like hashtag happy hologram. Now we have a hashtag you're right again, Jesus hashtag. Right again, Jesus. And that's basically what all these joinings are for. That's what makes the happy hologram instead of the what we think is the happy hellogram. Because we like the hellogram. Hell. We can ask Jesus, do I really like the hellgram? And he'll tell us. Then we can be honest. See, and then that's just kind of out in the air. Oh, that's refreshing. Let's clear the air on that. I really like the devil. I'm pretending like I don't like the devil and it's terrible and how horrible, and all the while underneath there, like we're blaming, the Grinch that stole Christmas and took all the Christmas packages. We've been keeping the little Grinch living under the subconscious mind. Yes, dude. But until we see it, we're knocking at death's door all the time. So we were talking about this chapter 17, and about how, it's a boomerang. It's the little boomerang of death that we try to cast out on our brother. If you see your brother limited in him, so shall you see yourself limited. You need to be shown that by Jesus. So Jesus, if I see my brother is limited, that's me. I'm seeing limited. We were talking a bit yesterday about that serpent tongue, how easily it just rolls so easily out of our mouths to find something wrong out there. And we become so, like someone said, it is a trance. We miscreated, it's a trance. All these emotions, it's a trance. We're in a trance. Self-hypnosis. You know how, like, you think it's such a great symbol on stage, those hypnotists come and all of a sudden somebody's acting like a chicken and they don't remember acting like a chicken. That's what we're doing. We're acting like chickens. This is breaking. Jesus is coming in to break the hypnosis. The hypnosis of death, thinking death is life and life is death. So these thoughts just rise up so easily. We don't even notice what comes out and what's a projection at all. How much fear is in the language pattern. You know, it's just like this automatic. We see it as so natural. Someone was talking today about I have to be careful everywhere I go in Mexico because you just never in like it was about 3-5 times an hour saying, you know, that there was some kind of form of attack expressed. That's the hypnosis. We don't even see the hypnosis that we're attacking ourselves by saying that stuff and believing, because it's our belief making manifest. If you see your brother in pain, so you worship at pain's table within yourself. You can ask Jesus that. So if I see my brother in pain, so you worship at pain's table within yourself. And it seems so impossible because pain seems so real. Yet as you look with Jesus' experience here, you can't see illness. You can't find a way. It's like it's missing in action. Because it's never been true. It's just, and you can start to see how many times the play was in consciousness. If someone was ill, you know, and I remember that play in consciousness because that's how I thought I could get love if I stayed home from school because my mom was nice to me. That was the play. So then that tree teaches us that illness is a good way to get salvation, get attention. And you just watch how you thrive off of it. If you really notice, if you've had an illness for a long time or a lot of pain for a long time, just kind of notice what comes out of what's the voice is saying, the serpent's saying. And not, it's innocence. You know, we have to see it in innocence and see the power that we have. You'll just see things. It's like Rita said, I couldn't believe it. Like I used to have the tightest jaw because we're holding ourselves so tight. Then her, you know, from just looking at the desires, you know how we're yawning and it's just releasing out all that subconscious desires and we can relax. We're in this healing modality was called bioenergetics. And I think it was a student of Freud's or something came up with this thing, but basically he would talk about how the body was armoring. You could see the armor in the body, like, and that's how it expresses within consciousness. The body's not real, but it's a reflection of our mind. So all this tension, again, the Klingon look, you know, up here or this. Yeah. It's, you know, it's not true for everything. It's just a symbol because the body is reflecting the mind, what we believe about it. Like I said that story one time and it was hilarious. Jesus is going to crack you up, really. He's hilarious. And I'm, you know, I'm talking to him. I got this video. I videoed it. It's on video. And I'm talking to him because a splitting headache. It was like, and I'm not sure I know what that is right now. That's wonderful. We forget even what a headache is. And here comes Jesus. He goes, and you don't know what a headache is. Now that's a place to start. That we don't even know what a headache is. But you know, it seemed to be like I don't really know I've heard about migraines, but whatever it was felt intense. And we're all having these intense, seemingly experience. It's a projection of the body. You know, I'm asking them, yes, do we have to be that determined even when like the most horrific symptoms start showing up to follow him? It is so powerful. That is acceptance of divinity. Show me how powerful that was, because then we're not saying yes and going along, you know, to the to the what's arising in consciousness. We're looking like immediately. And so I was looking with him, and I hadn't really learned. I knew it was something that was desired, but he hadn't really shown me this, like really see how much you desire this. But I was willing to show me what's underneath it, where he's starting to show me. And it was hilarious. And it's going, and you could just start noticing after a while, this like tension was releasing. You start to see all pain is tension. It's just tension held below the level of awareness and expresses out. It tries to project out there the subconscious desire. Anyway, at some point, he told me, you know, I'm going, oh, what do I do about this head? He goes, you think you have a head. Hilarious. I just had a laugh. How do we know we have a head? Somebody get in your head and tell you had a head? You know, it starts out when you're little, you got a head. We never really question whose head is that. We think we own that head. But what happens is we get owned by our body, just like we want to own objects, so we're owned by the body. Ask Jesus, do I want to feel like my body owns me? That I'm a little body package? See, we know that's true. We like it. Do I relish the little body package game? I relish that little body package and then make it all up and then get mad because, you know, my feet are ugly or whatever. Way too much, have too much weight. Jesus is telling me right now, he's reminding me, you give your body over to me. Let me have that. It's my concern. It's none of your business. I had a beautiful joining last night with Janet, you know, our beloved Janet. She's in the hospital right now. And Jesus told her, oh, it's just adorable. I mean, when you got everybody starts talking to Jesus, it's just. So she had a little talk with Jesus, and she said, usually I'd be in control of everything, but he said, you just give this right over to me, to those doctors, let them handle, you know, in terms of what a beautiful symbol of her brother. Anyway, we had a beautiful joining, and then Jesus told her just to talk to him. Now, she was so excited. It was the cutest little thing you've ever seen. She was all excited. I've never had this kind of time to talk to Jesus. She was all lit up. He said, I said, Jesus wants to talk to you. This is a great opportunity. You know, you just keep talking to him in that hospital. He's like all lit up. He's adorable. You can start to see how happy we are and how peaceful. We go over to that little park bench and sit down next to the one who knows and have a little talk. Very happy. Okay, here we go. If you see pain in him, so you worship at pain's table. Like I couldn't see anything with Janet, you know, except my love buddy, you know. That's why this is a good place to come, because and Rita expressed beautifully about it. You know, it's not a happy place for the ego here because we can't see illness, like we can't see it. That's your function. It's not your function to see it either, but it can be helpful to be with symbols that don't see it, can't register that. And I can see it's not just for seemingly other, it's for me to see and then to follow Jesus, because I can see in the past if somebody supposedly had something, or you know, you would always be going, oh, you know, because it would be my beliefs being projected out on them. You know, you're 6, you can't walk down the block, or whatever it would be. No, it's just the prompt. And you can just get, you know, because Jesus is the only one that knows what's possible. You can do anything I ask. And that includes transcend these ideas of limitation that keep the personal identity. And all illness is holding on to personal identity without exception. Jesus asked them. Personal identity. It's wanting to keep the idea of a personal identity in place, unless it's released to the miracle. And then the form may reflect that out. He said, Jesus, it probably will. He says it probably will reflect out. Because he's promising perfect health. But with these subconscious desires and all the ego's bonus plan over getting sick, and how much love of that. And I think I mentioned, like, when I first started taking the course, the symptoms that showed up, desired experiences, trances, I was having CT scans, and the Spirit used that in holy purpose. There's some really joinings with some beautiful, beautiful beings on that. You know, and Jesus in his own way shows you no matter what the circumstances that you're well cared for. But, you know, I was having heart palpitations, and all of a sudden the whole body would go weak. Like I could hardly stand up. It was just, you know, these unexplained symptoms. Jesus is telling me about it. He's saying a lot of that was just releasing the energy, you know, that was from all the forgiveness that was happening. It was just a release of energy. But see, I'm dying, you know, the ego's going, I'm dying. We don't know when we're getting a miracle. That is becoming so darn clear. They have to ask Jesus if that's a miracle or not, because the ego is going to panic, you know, because it sees it's being wiped out, and then it's going to make it some kind of, again, the Greek tragedy card, it pulls that out. But yeah, he's telling me all about it. See, I obviously wasn't talking to him well, but eventually what happened was I started looking at, you know, pulling back the covers a little bit and seeing that there was some fear under it about no one taking care of me. And yet wanting something like an illness to be out of my control. Because the ego plays that game. That's the way we speak in consciousness, as though illness is out of our control, when it's a desire for an experience to feel out of control. Ask the Holy Spirit. Ask Jesus. Is all illness the desire to feel out of control? That something's beyond my control. And at the same time, wanting control. Yet it is such a powerful source when you just anything can be used by Jesus to transcend personal identity and illness, because as soon as the ego moves into the body, as Muji says, it throws stones in the bush. Well, one of the big bushes it throws a stone in is body symptoms. But see, now it's helpful right now to hear that was a lot of release of, I can hear him talking about it. You need not be concerned. You let me be concerned with that. That's why it's helpful to ask them. And when quote unquote symptoms are showing up, we give it over to him and going, he's the only one that can interpret for us. Right? Because the ego is going to come up with all kinds of machinations. Why, you know, you're given an assignment by Jesus, and, you know, your leg will be broken or something, you know. Because the ego will play all kinds of ways. And you can ask him about it, and he'll tell you if you're playing that little game. It's not you. It's not personal. It's just the power of the mind. It's hilarious. It doesn't feel hilarious at the time. But boy, it's such a blessing with these desires. Again, going through chapter 20, you start looking at the desires and desire for pain and the experience of pain. But it's like the biggest relief ever. Because you realize you can't be threatened by anything unless you choose it. You can't be threatened by death. You know, that was like, and like I said, when you start realizing you created a little thundercloud to walk around in all the time to obscure happiness, real happiness. And it's going everywhere you go. Where's the light? I can't find it, because It's a desire for the thundercloud, the hell thundercloud, until we release the desires for the thundercloud. He, your brother, merely reflects the world of heaven or hell experience you have miscreated for yourself. So if you see an illness in your brother, that reflects the beliefs that you have about yourself. So again, it's really great that you're going to go someplace where they don't see you sick. The fastest healing ever. They can't see. You have reflections that can't, they won't register. Oh, this is beautiful. Every stone you cast out against your brother never goes out. It merely rests in eternal suffering as a shadow in your holy mind, convincing you that you are surely damned. And you can see the power that moves with you when you got a whole village chasing a woman down who's an adulterer, quote unquote. And there's one sentence that takes care of it all. Now, if that's not divinely inspired, let the one who is without sin cast the first stone. It's like, that's the same power that we carry, unless we are in the habit of casting stones against our brother, which is the boomerang against ourselves. Like, no place else to go. It's really admitting the boomerang, that it can't really go out. Every stone you cast out against your brother never goes out. It merely rests in eternal suffering as a shadow in your holy mind, convincing you that you are surely damned. Pain is simply the means by which you attempt to deny who you are. So let's ask Jesus about that. That feels really good. Is pain simply the way that I'm attempting to deny myself who I am? Well, I see in that. Then you can then go with pain and look at right under the desire, how much we relish it. Jesus, do I relish pain like more than anything? To see how that's really being trapped in a personal identity. Is that a piece of personal identity? Every piece of pain. I'm asking, yes, piece of pain. The slightest twitch of pain is personal identity. He goes, yes. That's not popular. Probably would be. You know what's so awesome? When you're everything, you don't need to be popular at all. Supreme happiness does not need a popularity contest. That is happiness. That's freedom. It's a refusal to let go of body identity. Oh, let's look at this. Jesus, is pain a refusal to let go of body identity? And really seeing how strong that refusal is. But I just keep going with Jesus, even if stuff hangs out, I see how helpful that is. I just keep working with them on it. But sometimes we're not willing to admit how powerful we are. You would rather be in pain than rejoice in who you are. Oh, let's ask him, Jesus, would I rather be in pain than rejoice in who I am? Jesus, would I rather have death than rejoice in who I am? That's honesty of God, and we can see that. Holy smokes. And it's so beautiful. You know, the beings that I've joined with who have said exactly this. I've seen it. I've seen it since I was little. I really, really know that there's all there is God, or however it would be expressed. And I see that I still want it, and I still want it. Now, we all can see that's insane. But for some beings, it has to get so excruciating or they won't look. I know it had to get real excruciating here for sure. But Jesus can work with anyone, obviously. You cannot be without pain until you see through your desire for it is valuable. Okay, he's clear. Jesus, do I need to see through my desire for pain is valuable? Yes, he says, otherwise you will always have it. It's your friend. See that it's your buddy and your friend. You'll see as some of these desires fall away that the pain's going to start falling away too. There'll be some of it around, but then you can see that the tools that you have, he's giving, how to look at these things below the level of awareness. You just start to see, again, like Rita mentioned, that the symptoms are going to start just falling away. And you don't buy into it so easily. And you see that it's a denial of love, and that you can never, ever, the pill won't give you what looking at the desires of Jesus will. You won't want pills. I mean, he might guide you to them, but you just want to look so quickly because you see what the love is that's underneath that's being denied using whatever the placebo is. So Jesus, will I be with pain until I see through my desire for it is valuable? Pain is unnatural to you and does not appear without your desire to experience it. Jesus, am I trying to hide the idea that am I trying to hide that I actually value pain for myself? That's where we really need his help to show us where we're like hiding from pain. Pain is a memory. Let's ask him so everybody can hear. Jesus, is pain a memory? See, it's a projected image. Jesus is that the pain a projected image? It's trying to push something out. Of outside of ourselves, like he was telling me when I was throwing up. You're trying to project it. It's just a symbol of trying to project. Pain is a memory that cannot be known in timelessness. So we can ask, in the timelessness of being, can pain be known? Is pain known in there? See that the light doesn't know what pain is. It doesn't register. This is helpful to see. It is a desire to experience the past and is thus time bound. a desire to make the past real. So let's ask him so we can, well, he says you're just, I'm asking, so it's just wallowing in the past, actually. Since it's all the past, it's trying to make the past real. Wallowing in the past, he's saying. I'm just asking, so it's avoidance of the future too. Even though the ego made the future, then it likes to avoid the future. You know how that plays? You know, when you're a kid and it was Sunday night, and you know how you felt about going to school the next day? That little feeling of dread. Pain is an attempt to block my voice. Your voice for truth. Ask him, Jesus, is pain a desire to try and block your voice? That's why it was so hilarious, and I had a laugh when he said to me, you can hear me. He was really in a lot of pain, even with a headache. He said, you can still hear me. We can always hear him. Because that's our natural voice. We can't really truly block out our natural voice, but we can try to avoid it like the plague, which is what consciousness is. You can ask Jesus, is consciousness a play to try to avoid that voice for God at all costs? Jesus, do I want death more than I want to hear that voice? Do I relish death more than I want to hear your voice? And you just go till he says no. So he says, no, you don't anymore. The voice that reminds you that who you are does not know what pain is. Today, we will look at the insanity of how you actually relish the experience of pain, and then create an experience in which you do not recall that you relish the experience of it, and thus maintain a sense of what is not natural to you. That's good to look at. So we'll go through that. The insanity of how I relish the experience of pain. See, this is really helpful. When he shows you, it was helpful here, when he was showing me that relish button, that relishing of pain, and wanting of it, wanting pain more than God. So just ask him, if you experience pain, do I want that pain more than God? See, God doesn't know what pain is, and so therefore we don't know what pain. So if we're experiencing pain, but even though you can hear that intellectually, the ego is going to try to keep that intellectually. But when we really, okay, Jesus, give it to me, sock it to me, however you're going to show me that I really, really, really relish pain. And I'm talking to Jesus about that. That's been my experience here. How it'll start to dissipate. You start yawning, that dead energy, suppressed energy starts releasing, and it's like, I think even Kelly was saying, all of a sudden I couldn't find it anymore. Gone, right? Yeah, just like, what was that? Then you actually relish the experience of pain, and then create an experience in which you do not recall that you relish the experience of it. Okay? Jesus, do I desire an experience in which I do not recall that I desired or desire an experience of pain? Is that a play in consciousness? He says, that's what I'm here to help you remember. that you desired to forget it. So you could pretend like it was something outside you happening to you. Oh, I fell and broke my foot. No, you desired an experience to fall and break your foot and then pretend like there's a foot that's broken and has pain. Very humbling. Because when you really go deep with them, you see, wait a minute, there can't be a leg. So what's that about? It has to be a dream. And thus maintain a sense of what is not natural to you. Jesus, do I desire an experience of maintaining a sense of what's not natural to me? Pain is always unnatural to you, ask them. So if it's appearing, it has to be a desire. If pain is appearing, Jesus, does that mean there's a desire for it? And he's saying it helpful to say, look, you're not in a body without experiencing pain unless you really look with Jesus to transcend the pain. So if you're experiencing pain, join to look at it because it's helpful for everyone to see that it can be transcended, that Jesus' promise is true. We are not subject to the sands of pain. Ask him, Jesus, in all truth and honesty of God, am I truly subject to pain? He says, no, yet it is how you play weak. Is pain playing weak? But just remember this, it's just one of the diversity of ways that weakness plays. That's again, otherwise, that's why the book is so thick. You got to go through it, and somebody was mentioning to me how long chapter 20, that's a really long chapter. That's a really short trip right into seeing the miscreation. In the play of time in the millennia, as someone said, we've been playing this for millennia. Ask Jesus, I've been playing this out for millennia. And he's in charge of the atonement. This is training us to let him be in charge of the atonement. And don't you think, as being in charge of the atonement, that he is going to deliver out the fastest means possible for us to see where denials are? You can ask him, Jesus. He says, I'm just showing you where your willingness is. That's what he's saying. I'm showing you where your willingness is. To look quickly with me. Beyond the metaphysics, beyond the little ideas, you can see directly the miscreation and be in this world but not of it. That's helpful. When you admit this, you can also see how you can transcend the experience of it. That's helpful, really. When he helps you break, not you consciousness playing, the hypnosis. The hypnosis is, the hypnotic pattern is that love is pain and pain is love. So talking to Jesus is pain. Following the Holy Spirit is pain. And it's hilarious because when you start looking at it and then you realize, wait, I'm in pain all the time. And then I have this little undercurrent convincing myself that following Jesus. And then that's the desire for experience that will never break free. Without him, we'll never break free without him for sure. Not fully. There are lots of beings that can talk about infinite. It's not difficult to talk about infinite because we can see it, like my niece. All is forgiven. It's the desire to deny It runs so deep. The desire, the belief that, oh, you have to have pain. No, you don't. I'm asking him right now, Jesus, can I be in this body without experiencing pain? Hear him. So much love in that. Said that's a concept that you can actually experience pain in the body. I'm asking, it's a concept that you can experience pain at all. How about that? Pain is a concept. Okay, let's look at that. Pain is a concept. Jesus, will you show me everywhere, any little twitches where I'm still relishing pain? Absolutely, he will. When you admit this, you can also see how you can transcend the experience of it. That is just taking back divine power. You can start to see that, when he's showing me, because the pain was showing up. It was showing up in the head, and then it'd be a toe, it'd be a foot, it'd be this. You just stay with them. That's the experience here. I would just stay with them and have a talk about every single, if he, is this good to look at? Jesus, okay, show me. And then as the pain you see that pain falling away and the joy rising up without a placebo. And like you don't feel threatened. We're desiring experience to feel threatened all the time that something bad's going to happen, that we're going to be pain, or we're going to die a horrible death. And that just starts falling away. Because you see, if it arises, it's a desired experience and you know exactly what to do about it. Go to Jesus and release the desire. And ask him about that, because a lot of spiritual teachings, they teach, you can transcend suffering, but not necessarily pain. And that's, so I'm thinking of Ramana Maharshi. So he did get a tumor on his arm, and he went and had an operation on it without anesthesia. The doctor was talking about him going, he didn't even twitch. Ramana had left his body a long time ago. I'm asking Jesus, as a symbol and form of being able to transcend all pain. Again, because a lot of spiritual traditions will say, oh, you can transcend suffering, but not pain. Not what Jesus is saying. All pain. He's the living demonstration of it. He was the demonstration of it. And you can ask him, Jesus, were you on as a symbol in consciousness? Did you have pain on the cross? Ask him. No personal identity. It takes personal identity to feel pain. You don't have personal identity fully washed out. You see that pain's a concept. I'm willing to just keep working on him with it for sure. He's telling me I can walk this earth without a sliver of pain. I'm in. And you can see that the light doesn't know what pain is, so it has to be unnatural. The true power you have is granted by the Father, a power that does not invest in the experience of pain. A power that does not invest in the experience of pain, as it is all that is. Oh, here he is. He's talking about this. I'd forgotten. He did put it in here. On the cross, I did not experience pain because I did not desire to experience it. Now that is dun-dun-dun. That changes Bible history. That's why he had so many followers. And I've told this story before I could get that. Fabulous. Like, oh, just thinking of it, so much love. And when I was in Jerusalem and they were talking about crucifixion and how the crosses, they were not, you always see them up on a hill somewhere and the bodies are really high. No, those crosses were at eyeball level. So you were looking in the eye and they would put it right on the road to Damascus. That main road traveled right outside the Damascus gate, and they'd be right on that road so that the Romans could set their example that, keep the line or horrible death for you. And the beings on the cross would actually, they'd curse. Like the crowd would curse. It was a cursing festival. You don't see that in the movies, a little taste of it, but really, so it was cursing back and forth. Now here we have one up there that's teaching love from the cross. You can ask them as a symbol within our mind. Because some people go, well, there wasn't really a Jesus. But for the parable, it's helpful for the example. So he's up there teaching, speaking love from the cross. Is he worried about agony? No, he's looking over to the guy next to him. Today you'll be with me in paradise. He's giving comfort even as he's hanging from the cross. I love it. On the cross, I did not experience pain because I did not desire to experience it. In admitting full unity with the Father, pain is impossible. In seeing all as the same as the Father sees it, all as the same, love only, pain cannot coexist with perfect love. Jesus, this pain coexists with perfect love. All the way. All the way. Am I perfect love, Jesus? Need I experience pain in this seemingly form? See all the heads going? We know this. Am I dabbling in pain just for fun? Because I think it's fun? Yes, you are. That's okay, Just admit it and see through it. Don't dabble there long, he's saying. Love's waiting for us right here. The big cuddle with each other. How precious is that? How precious is that? A big cuddle. Sending cuddles, San Juan Coastla.